I'm Lillian, 32, a logistics coordinator here in Kansas City. For years, it feels like my savings account has been more theirs than mine, keeping the family afloat. Hospital bills when Dad had his heart surgery, Cassandra's endless college tuition, a new roof after that brutal storm last year. I even passed up a promotion in Denver, a real step up, just to stay close, just in case they needed me again. At our family dinner table, the same one I paid to have refinished last summer, Dad cleared his throat. "We've decided," he said, his voice leaving no room for discussion. "The house, the savings, everything goes to your sister. Cassandra deserves it for her business dreams." My stomach lurched. Mom just nodded, her eyes fixed somewhere over my shoulder. "She's got big plans." Patricia added her tone, dismissing every sacrifice I'd ever made, every dollar I'd sent. I gripped my water glass, my knuckles turning white. "She deserves it." The words hit me like a physical blow. All those late nights, the skipped vacations, the constant worry, erased. They didn't see it, didn't see me. Just the reliable daughter, the open wallet. I wanted to scream, but the silence burned hotter. My heart hammered against my ribs as I stared at the polished wood of that table, the weight of their betrayal finally sinking in. They'd taken everything I gave and just handed it to her. Something inside me snapped that night. My plate sat untouched as their words echoed. "She deserves it." My mind just went numb, then started replaying everything I'd given up, every choice I'd made. For them. 5 years ago. Dad's heart surgery. That late-night call from Mom, her voice choked with panic. $25,000. They had no way to pay. I sent it the next morning, emptying the savings I'd scraped together for years. Every last cent. There went any thought of a vacation, any small comfort I might have bought myself. Just gone. When Dad left the hospital, all I got was a quiet nod. He never mentioned the money again, never asked how I managed it. I just told myself, he's breathing. That had to be enough, right? Then came Cassandra's college tuition. $15,000 a year for 3 years. $45,000 total. She swore that business degree was her ticket to some amazing entrepreneurial life. My own rent was a stretch, my car barely holding together, but I made it work. I believed her, or maybe I just wanted to believe her. She stumbled through, partied hard, barely scraped by with a degree. Her string of ventures after graduation, the failed online boutique, the gourmet dog treat idea, they ate up time and money, but I kept quiet. Signed the checks when Mom called, asking for just a little more to keep Cassandra's dreams alive. 2 summers ago, that big storm tore through Kansas City, ripped the roof right off the family house. Mom called hysterical this time. "We'll lose the house, Lillian. We'll lose everything." $12,000. That's what the repairs cost. I picked up extra shifts, took on freelance logistics projects on weekends, anything to pull that money together. I still see that new roof sometimes when I drive by their neighborhood. A constant solid reminder of what I gave, what they took. The deepest cut, though, Denver. A senior logistics manager position, $130,000 a year. A chance to finally build something real for myself. A life. I said no. Leaving felt like abandoning them, like I was the only thing holding it all together. So I stayed. Stayed in Kansas City, stayed in my okay job, stayed anchored to their needs. Each sacrifice felt like another stone piled on my chest. All those late nights, staring at spreadsheets until the numbers blurred. I used to wonder when it would be my turn, when I could finally breathe just for me. Dad's recovery, Cassandra's degree. That sturdy roof. I made those things happen, but they never seemed to notice. Cassandra would breeze in spinning tales about her next brilliant idea while I was secretly juggling bills to make sure their lights stayed on. Mom and Dad would just beam, cheering her on, never asking how I was managing, how I was stretching every single dollar. I wasn't looking for applause, just maybe a nod, a thank you, some sign that they saw what I was doing. Instead, all I ever got was their silence, their expectation. And then there was the mortgage, $3,000, every single month for 4 years, $144,000. I'd set up the automatic transfer, watching that chunk disappear from my account like clockwork, telling myself it was the right thing to do. Keep the family home safe. Keep Dad secure. Meanwhile, Cassandra bloomed. New car. Leased, I suspected, but still flashy. Weekend trips I only saw on Instagram tagged with Sharier Best Life. Designer bags that cost more than my monthly rent. I'd see the credit card statements sometimes when Mom would accidentally mix them in with Dad's bills. She'd ask me to look over. Charges from boutiques I couldn't even afford to window shop at restaurants where an appetizer cost more than my groceries for a week. How did they not see it? Or did they just choose not to? It's like something you read about that golden child, black sheep dynamic. Cassandra was the golden child. Everything she touched, everything she wanted, was bathed in this warm, approving light. Her half-baked business ideas were genius strokes of entrepreneurial spirit. Her spending wasn't reckless. It was investing in her image, her brand. She deserved. It Remember and me, I was the black sheep. The reliable one, yes, but also the boring one. The one who didn't need support because I was strong. The one whose sacrifices weren't sacrifices at all, just expected. It's a way families cope sometimes assigning roles. One child carries the family's hopes and dreams often without earning them, while the other carries the burdens quietly, invisibly. Knowing the term didn't make it hurt less, though. It just gave a name to the constant ache of being unseen. I thought about all the family dinners I'd sat through, listening to endless praise for Cassandra, while my own small victories, a promotion, hitting a savings goal, finally fixing my rattling car, went completely unmentioned. I'd try sometimes mentioning a project I was proud of at work, only to have Mom interrupt with, "Oh, that reminds me Cassandra needs help planning her launch party." It was like I was speaking a different language, one they couldn't be bothered to learn. The invisibility. It wears you down. Why did I put up with it for so long? Looking back, it seems insane, but it's like the invisible chains of a survivor. When you grow up in a system like that, where your worth is constantly questioned, where love feels conditional, you learn to adapt just to get by. You learn that rocking the boat means risking even the little approval you get. It's not about physical chains, it's psychological. It's like being in a prison cell with no bars. You could walk out, but you've been conditioned for so long to believe you can't, or that the world outside is even scarier. You tell yourself, it's not that bad, or family is family, or maybe if I just try harder, they'll finally see me. It's a survival mechanism. You learn to swallow the hurt, to keep the peace, because the alternative feels too terrifying. You become the dependable one, because that's the only role that gets you any kind of validation, even if it's just the validation of being useful. But sitting there staring at that refinished dining table after they'd delivered their verdict, something broke. Those invisible chains, they suddenly felt heavy, suffocating. The dinner wasn't just another dismissal. It felt final. They weren't just overlooking me anymore. They were actively writing me out of the future they envisioned, a future built on the foundation and I had painstakingly maintained. The clarity was sharp, painful, but undeniable. I wasn't just unseen. To them, in the ways that truly mattered, I simply didn't exist. A week felt like a month. I replayed that dinner conversation over and over, the unfairness of it settling like a cold weight in my chest. She deserves it. How could they say that after everything I tried to focus on work, coordinating shipments, dealing with customs delays? The usual chaos of logistics kept my mind busy during the day, but evenings were harder. The quiet of my apartment felt heavy, amplifying the silence from my family. No calls, no texts, not even an angry follow-up. It was like the dinner had happened, the decision was made, and I simply ceased to exist again. Then Blair texted, "Coffee now urgent." We met at our usual spot downtown. Blair slid into the booth opposite me, her expression tense. She didn't even wait for the waitress. "Okay, Lillian, you need to hear this, and it's bad." She started, her voice low. My stomach immediately nodded. "What is it?" "It's about Cassandra." Blair leaned closer. "You know Sarah, who works at the downtown branch of the credit union. She saw something involving your parents' house." The house? What about it? Cassandra and Blair took a deep breath. "She's apparently been taking out lines of credit against the house. Like big ones." Sarah saw paperwork showing over an $100,000 I carry in debt tied directly to that property. I just stared at her. How Mom wouldn't agree to that. That's the thing, Blair said, pulling out her phone. Sarah doesn't think they know. The signatures looked off. And the mailing address for the statements wasn't your parents' house. It was a P.O. box Cassandra opened last year. She showed me a blurry photo on her phone, a screenshot of what looked like a loan statement summary, the address clearly not my parents', the balance disturbingly high. She used the house as collateral without telling them. The idea was monstrous. All my sacrifices, all those years I'd paid that mortgage to keep it safe. This, and it gets worse. Blair continued, her eyes full of grim sympathy. Sarah mentioned seeing some of the charge summaries linked to the credit line. We're talking designer boutiques, flights to Europe, stays at 5-star hotels. Apparently, Cassandra's been living this whole secret lavish life while telling everyone she's pouring money into her business dreams. A double life, funded by jeopardizing the family home I'd practically paid for. The betrayal wasn't just recklessness anymore. It was calculated, deliberate deceit sustained over years. All while they were praising her ambition, planning to give her everything I had secured. Oh my God, I whispered, the coffee cup trembling in my hand. I know, Blair said softly. Sarah felt terrible, but she thought you needed to know, especially after what happened at that dinner. She said Cassandra's missed payments recently, and the credit union is starting to send more serious notices. Missed payments. That meant the bank could actually come after the house. All those years, all that money. Potentially for nothing. The anger that had been simmering since that dinner erupted hot and fierce. This wasn't just about being overlooked anymore. This was about active, destructive betrayal, and my parents, in their blind adoration, were about to lose everything because of the daughter they chose over me. I drove away from the coffee shop, Blair's words echoing in my ears. Over $100,000. Signatures looked off. Secret P.O. box. Double life. It wasn't just recklessness. It felt calculated, malicious even. All that money I'd poured into keeping that house safe, the foundation of their lives. And Cassandra had treated it like her personal slush fund, potentially forging signatures to do it. I didn't even go home. I drove straight to my parents' house, the proof from Blair, burning a hole in my pocket, metaphorically speaking. Patricia was in the kitchen, wiping down counters, humming softly. The picture of domestic calm. It made my blood boil. Mom, I said, my voice sharper than I intended. She looked up, startled. Lillian, honey, I didn't expect you. We need to talk about Cassandra and the house. Her hand stilled on the counter. What about Cassandra? Did you know? I kept my voice level, fighting to stay calm, that she's taken out over $100,000 in loans using this house as collateral. Did you know she's been hiding the statements, possibly forging signatures? Patricia went pale. That familiar flicker of panic appeared in her eyes before she smoothed her expression. Lillian, don't be ridiculous. Cassandra wouldn't she? I interrupted, pulling out my phone and showing her the screenshot Blair had sent. This is a statement summary. The balance is over 6 figures. The mailing address isn't here. It's a P.O. box. Blair's friend at the credit union saw it. They're starting to send default notices, Mom. She stared at the screen, her hand trembling slightly as she reached out, then pulled back. There must be some mistake. Is there? Or did you just choose not to see all her, spending the trips, the clothes? Where did you think that money was coming from? Her business dreams that never make a dime. She's ambitious, Patricia whispered, falling back on the old excuse, but the words sounded hollow even to her. She just needed a little help getting started. Help, Mom, she risked everything. This house, Dad's security, everything I've worked for years to protect. My voice was rising now, the control slipping. Lillian, please, she said, her eyes pleading. Don't make this harder. We trusted her. You trusted her. I repeated, the bitterness sharp on my tongue. But you never trusted me. You just expected me to clean up the messes. That's not fair, she started, but I cut her off. What's not fair is me paying the mortgage month after month while she secretly runs up debts that could leave you homeless. What's not fair is you standing there making excuses for her. Still, she sank into a kitchen chair looking defeated. What do you want me to do, Lillian? I want you to wake up, I almost shouted. I want you to see her for who she is, not who you wish she was. But you won't, will you? You'll just find a way to blame me for finding out. She didn't answer, just stared at her hands. That silence was confirmation enough. The willful blindness, the refusal to hold Cassandra accountable, it ran too deep. My resolve hardened into something cold and absolute. I'd given them chances. I'd swallowed the hurt. But this was different. This wasn't just dismissal. It was complicity in potential ruin. Just then my phone buzzed. A text message from Frank. Mortgage payment due Friday. Make sure it goes through. The timing was almost darkly funny. The routine reminder, the casual expectation even now. I looked at my mother, still sitting silently at the table, a picture of helpless enablement. I typed back to Frank, my fingers steady. And that's no longer my responsibility. I hit send. The words felt sharp, final. The cord wasn't just frayed anymore. It was cut. For weeks, the silence was deafening. My phone, usually buzzing with reminders or passive-aggressive check-ins, stayed quiet. The automatic transfer for the mortgage didn't go through, and I waited, bracing myself for the inevitable storm. It came on a Tuesday evening. A sharp, insistent knock echoed through my apartment. I wasn't expecting anyone. Through the peephole, I saw them, all four of them. Mom, Dad, Cassandra, and even my brother Jace standing there like a united front faces grim. This wasn't a casual visit. This was an ambush. I opened the door, leaving the chain lock engaged, creating a small gap between their world and mine. Mom clutched a folder. Bank notices, probably, her hands trembling slightly as she stepped forward. We're out of time, Lillian. Patricia said, her voice cracking with forced urgency. The bank sent another notice. They'll start foreclosure proceedings if you don't help. I leaned against the doorframe, crossing my arms, my expression deliberately unyielding. Cassandra dug this hole. I said, my tone cold but steady. Let her climb out. Cassandra's eyes flared, her jaw tight with anger. You're betraying us, she spat, stepping closer, her voice dripping with venom. We're your family and you're just walking away. A bitter laugh escaped me harsh in the quiet hallway. Betraying you. I've carried this family for years. Every bill, every crisis, every single sacrifice I made, and you handed it all to her. I gestured towards Cassandra, while she was secretly gambling away the roof over your heads. My words landed like a slap, and her face flushed, but she didn't back down. Dad moved forward, then his presence heavy, his eyes searching mine, probably looking for the daughter who always gave in. This isn't who we raised Lillian, he said, his voice low-laced with that familiar disappointment. You're letting us fall apart. The accusation twisted in my chest a sharp, familiar pain, but I held my ground. I've given enough, I said, locking eyes with Cassandra again. She took out over $100,000 against the house, maybe forged signatures, funded a secret life while I paid the bills. Your mess, I said directly to her, your problem. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. Her usual defiance faltered, replaced by something that looked almost like fear. Mom's voice broke the silence, soft and pleading now. Please, Lillian, just this once. She begged, her eyes glistening. We're your family. I scanned their faces. Mom's trembling hands, Dad's furrowed brow, Jace standing silently behind them, and Cassandra's clenched fists. They weren't here because they missed me or cared about me. They were here because they needed the ATM again. My heart pounded, not with guilt this time, but with a cold, hard clarity I'd never felt before. Family doesn't mean I'm your bank. I said, my voice firm, unshaken. I'm done. I started to step back, ready to close the door, but Cassandra lunged forward, her voice rising shrill with desperation. You think you're better than us? You'll regret this when we lose everything. I met her gaze unflinching. No, Cassandra. I said, my words deliberate and clear. You'll regret gambling their home on your schemes. You'll regret the double life, the lies, the potential fraud. Her face crumpled. Then that flicker of fear replacing her bravado. Dad raised a hand, maybe to calm her, maybe to silence her, but his eyes stayed on me, heavy with judgment. You're choosing yourself over us, he said, his tone final, like a verdict. I nodded, feeling no need to apologize. Yes, I said. For the first time, I am. Mom reached out her fingers, just grazing my arm, but I pulled back instinctively. Don't, I said, my voice softer, but no less resolute. You made your choice at that dinner when you picked her, when you decided her dreams were worth more than my reality. The air grew thick with unspoken things, their silence louder than any argument could be. I thought of all the years, the endless cycle of their needs and my compliance. They'd taken my loyalty, my money, my time, assuming I'd always bend, always be their safety net. But the net was gone. I looked at the folder in Mom's hands, the bank notices spilling out. Tangible proof of Cassandra's recklessness. Call the bank. I said, my eyes fixed on Cassandra. Figure it out. Work out a payment plan. Sell something, but fix it. I'm not your way out anymore. She flinched, her hands balling into fists again, but she stayed silent, her usual confidence completely shattered. She looked to Mom and Dad, waiting for them to step in to force me to fix it for her, but they didn't move. Maybe finally they were seeing it too. I closed the door, the click echoing in the stillness. Their voices lingered outside for a moment, muffled pleas turning into angry accusations, but I didn't listen. I walked to my window, watching the Kansas City skyline begin to glow against the dusk. My phone buzzed. Another text, probably Dad's fury or Cassandra's venom. I didn't check it. Instead, I sank onto my couch, the immense weight of their expectations finally blessedly lifting. My pulse slowed, replaced by a quiet, steady sense of freedom. I'd spent years giving everything. Now I was choosing myself. Their problems were no longer mine to solve. The confrontation wasn't the end. Cassandra launched a vicious social media campaign painting me as the heartless villain. Strangers, neighbors, even colleagues turned cold, believing her lies that I'd abandoned my family over money. My mother called not to defend me, but to demand I fix the reputational damage Cassandra caused. The pressure was immense, hitting my work life as clients paused projects based on the rumors. Then the foreclosure notice hit the local paper. The truth spilled out. The massive secret debts Cassandra had tied to the house were exposed. Her lies crumbled under the weight of reality. Suddenly, the apologetic messages started trickling in from those who judged me. Cassandra vanished, leaving town and abandoning our parents to face the wreckage. Mom called defeated, confirming Cassandra had fled. Dad remained silent. Looking back, cutting ties felt brutal, like defying nature. But sometimes family is the source of pain, and walking away isn't failure, it's self-preservation. It's choosing peace over toxic obligation, finding your worth outside their judgment, and building a life that's truly yours. The storm passed. Left in the quiet, I felt not triumph, but a profound sense of release, free from their expectations, their drama, their definition of family. Setting boundaries wasn't selfish, it was survival. I hadn't lost their love. I'd escaped their control and finally found my own peace,